to the Eric Thompson Show. Passionate conservative fighting to preserve our constitutional rights.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
A Marine Corps veteran and family man whose life's creed is faith, family, and country. Join Eric today as he covers current events from a conservative worldview. Now, here's your host, Eric Thompson.
Hi, welcome to another Eric Thompson Show podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. It is really late Wednesday, March 9th. Just got done doing my political writing, so I thought we'd do a podcast here to kind of go over what's going on. Thank you so much for listening in. If you want to check out my articles, you can go over to my website, eric-thompsonshow.com, E-R-I-C, thompsonshow.com. You can check out the articles. I'm also a political writer for trendingpolitics.com, and I own two small social media platforms. If you want to get a hold of me on magabook.com or twellet.com, and I'm over on True Social. So we want to be visible as the storm is upon us. So we're going to go over on this podcast. The Democrats, after a crazy day of arguing, jumping through hoops, they went ahead and passed another $1.5 trillion, not just a regular spending bill, but another omnibus bill where you throw everything in the kitchen sink in it. And there's like it's like a big box of goodies for the left. And literally, we're going to go over some of the items that are in it. And I'm just praying and I'm hoping that Manchin and Sinema don't let this go through in the Senate, because they'll try to do the reconciliation process and try to just get 50 votes and push it through. $1.5 trillion, and it is full of social justice, garbage, Green New Deal money. Just, it's a gold rush for leftists who want to deconstruct our country. I mean, when you consider that there's investors buying up a significant amount of homes in the United States and then converting them into rentals, when you consider that Bill Gates is the largest owner of farmland in the United States, when you consider that millions of people are pouring across our border and nobody can do anything about it, and then we have a government that just keeps pushing LGBT, trans, open borders, illegal aliens, amnesty. So they took the Ukraine situation and then they threw a little bit of money in to help them, and then they go throw another $1.45 trillion on top of it and push it through. It is infuriating. And we'll get to that here in a second. Some interesting news has been floating around where Russia came out and said, we have found your biological weapon factories in Ukraine. The director of the Information and Press Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation, Maria, whatever that name is, Zakharova, told the United States on Wednesday that we have found your biological weapons in Ukraine. Well, when Victoria Nuland, the Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs, when she was asked by Marco Rubio, is there any biological factories, research labs in Ukraine? She said yes, and we're afraid Russia's going to get a hold of them. But what does Psaki do? Oh, no. She tweeted, we took note of Russia's false claims about alleged U.S. biological weapon labs and chemical weapon development in Ukraine. We've also seen Chinese officials echo those conspiracy theories. Well, what's interesting is the Daily Mail is reporting that the Biden's White House latest claims that there's no biological research labs after yesterday admitting that there were. The White House is warning on Wednesday that Russia's autocratic leader Vladimir Putin could use chemical or biological weapons and mass escalation of his unprovoked and deadly attacks on Ukraine. So you have people like Victoria Nuland saying yes. The White House saying Russia warning Ukraine Russia is going to have stockpiles of biological and chemical warfare that they might use. And then all of a sudden Pelosi the White House comes out to the Psaki. Oh, that's all Russia misinformation. The hard part about living in the United States today is we are the divided states of America. We are not the United States anymore. The Marxists through education and immigration and through the media have converted part of our nation into a far left radical pre-Venezuela collapse political party. No God, no traditional value, anti-white, pro-LGBT, pro-trans, social justice, economic justice, racial justice, environmental justice. So we have to figure out, those of us that love our country, because we don't have a Tea Party or anything to kind of unite everybody together. We have to figure out what the plan is. Because the left is pounding and pounding and pounding. Then you have the Great Reset taking place. Then the United Nations 2030. You got hundreds of banks and financial institutions partnered with the World Economic Forum to put in place an ESG score, which would eventually say, you know what, we're not going to go by a credit score. We're going to go by your environmental score, your social justice score, and your governance, how you work with the government and are compliant. Kind of like what China does with their social credit score. Things are in motion, Americans. This isn't hyperbole. And I'll get to it here in a second about how BlackRock Financial has its groups buying up billions and billions and billions of dollars of homes. You may be in a market where you're like, hey, people are overpaying $50,000 for the homes. Well, if you're in Phoenix or some of these major markets, that you're actually, those homes are getting purchased by big equity groups, financial groups, to convert into rentals, because part of the Great Reset by 2030 is you would not own anything, including a home. You would rent everything, and you would be happy about it. Part of the Great Reset is to not be eating meat anymore because of the gases that come from the cows. So Gates is out buying up all the farmland. The federal government went and took back a bunch of land over the last decade. Their land management is no. We don't need to. You don't need to be increasing the size of your ranching operation. We're not going to let you lease the land anymore, et cetera, et cetera. So the White House is lying through their teeth. Biden lied through his teeth at the press conference a couple of days ago, saying, I have nothing to do with the skyrocketing gas prices, as they will not allow any extra production in the United States. But they ran over to Saudi Arabia, got told no. The UAE, no. Trying to get, maybe Iran can hook us up, or Venezuela. But they don't care, because the Democrats want gasoline to be at $7 or $8 a gallon, because like Psaki said, or even Buttigieg, well, hey, we just invested billions of dollars in rapid charging stations, so go get your electric cars. Don't quit complaining about the gas prices. Go buy your electric cars. Get with it, America, they would say. The only way we can be energy dependent is if we go all renewable energy. But you can't build any nuclear plants. This omnibus bill, it just drives me nuts, because we're going to go through it in a minute here. But when you start to see what they're trying to jam through in this $1.5 trillion of a goodie bag. It's not legislation like they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be passing appropriation bills. Okay, we're going to pass spending for military. We're going to spend money for HHS. We're going to spend money for this. Instead, they go, no, we're going to just put out a big bag and everybody can throw their stuff in. That's why if this was to go through, we'd be about $32 trillion in debt, and they're bankrupting us. All right, before I go through what's in it, let me go over my first sponsor. I have two no-brainers that are helping sponsor this podcast. One is Pure Talk USA. Here's how it works. About a year and a half ago, I was with T-Mobile. Before that, I was with AT&T. And I switched over to T-Mobile thinking I'm going to cut my cell phone bill down. The problem is they have so many hidden fees and overage charges. The next thing I knew, I was actually paying more. So then I heard about Pure Talk on Rush's show, so I switched over to Pure Talk at getpuretalk.com. And here's what happened is they mailed me the SIM cards. I stuck them in my existing phones. So I didn't have to get new phones. I didn't have to get new phone numbers. I turned my phones back on, and it said Pure Talk at the top. And guess what? I was still on the exact same 5G network that I was on before. Same towers, same coverage, same Wi-Fi, hotspots, everything the same, but my bill went down over 50%. If you could tomorrow wake up and have your phones work exactly the same, but your bill go down 50%, wouldn't you do that? My bill, I got my bill for last month here, $62.23 for 3 phones. Yes, you can do it too. Joins hundreds of thousands of other people that are leaving AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile over to getpuretalk.com. The nice thing about them is if you happen to go over on your data, let's say you choose a 6 gigabyte, 8 gigabyte, I don't know what I don't even know how that stuff works, but you choose your plan and you go over because you're on a vacation. You don't pay for that overage. So my bill is going to be $62.23 every month unless I go add more phones, even if I go over. They're based in the Atlanta, Georgia area. The CEO is a U.S. veteran. Great customer service, top-rated wireless company with consumer affairs. And to make it even better, when you go to getpuretalk.com, when you go to checkout, use my promo code, 3 letters, FLS, for 4 Liberty's sake. So getpuretalk.com, promo code FLS at checkout. You get 50% off your first bill with Pure Talk, which is going to be about 50% off what you've been paying. No brainer. Getpuretalk.com, promo code FLS. Thank you. Here we go. Here is what happened. They finally got it passed through. Democrats passed a $1.5 trillion omnibus spending bill after hours of delay and Democratic confusion. 361 to 69 is when they voted on that. They had to separate out. See, the first half focused on security funding, passed with 361 to 69. Second half featured on whatever. It's chaos. I don't even understand what they did in the end. All I know in the end is they passed spending for $1.5 trillion. And if we get down to what's in it, here are some of the things that we know. The bill's out of 1.5 trillion, 1.5 trillion. How much do you think is going to help Ukraine? 13 billion for humanitarian, economic, and military. But guess what? There's a lot of leftist, woke, and climate change carve-outs in it. The legislation even includes a provision that expands diversity, equality, and inclusion at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The omnibus bill funds border security for 8 foreign nations. It's going to help fund border security for 8 nations, but nothing for the United States-Mexico border. The omnibus bill, also according to the Republican Study Committee, would spend $100 billion on Green New Deal initiatives. $100 billion. And advance racial justice through the Department of Agriculture programs, which has already been ruled unconstitutional. What they're trying to do is they're trying to flood the nation with billions and billions up to $1 trillion right before the midterms, hoping that people would feel this swoosh of money. Oh, no, things are good now. I guess I can stick with Biden after all, regardless of what he just did with COVID and everything else. $100 billion there. Because that racial justice through the Department of Agriculture, which what they were trying to do is say, we will give grants to black farmers and farmers of color only to grow their farms. But no ranches or anything, because they have to fit within what our new Green Deal objectives are. The bill contains $100 million for environmental justice activities at the EPA. And $75 million to buy some low and zero emission vehicles for the government. $26 billion in extra food stamp funding because there's so many illegals pouring in. They need more food stamps. So we'll throw that $26 billion into this bag of goodies. This is the first spending bill to include earmarks. No protections from Chinese espionage and grants to the National Science Foundation in there. It increases, think about it. Listen to this. It's going to increase Fauci's National Institutes of Health funding by an extra 10% more. Provides $66 million for racial and ethnic approaches to community health. An extra $8 million over last year. You know what that means? Heritage Foundation said that the bill would actually send taxpayer funds to Planned Parenthood. 2,700 pages with less than 24 hours to read it, and they passed it. This is literally when we're in a country that everyone is trying to grab their goodies up on Capitol Hill. But the overall intention is to tear down the American capitalistic economic system, rebuild it, replacing shareholders with stakeholders, replacing most qualified person gets the job with no equity requirements where, no, we're going to go by first what you identify, whatever your sex is this week, and whatever you identify as ethnically, those would come first, then we'll worry about qualifications. That's why Black Lives Matter, before they took down their About Us page originally, said one of our goals is to get rid of the traditional nuclear family in the United States. We don't want to promote mom, dad, child anymore. We want to promote transgenderism. We want to promote diversity. We want to promote intersectionality. We want to promote critical race theory. We want to promote white people bad, Christian men the worst, government is the nanny state. The thing that really concerns me, and then I'll go to one more story and we'll be done. The Republican Party, conservatives, MAGA supporters are so divided. Like, I own small social media platforms, so I have only 3,000 people on my one site and 800 on the other. And then you go over to Parler has a group of people, and Gab has people, and Getter has people, and now True Social has people. And then Fox is kind of going to the dark side a little bit, and then you got Newsmax that goes to the Newsmax goes to the dark side, and One American News getting kicked off of AT&T's network. So we're all spread out, but what you have is a centralized far-left radical Great Reset, United Nations 2030, Obama-led Marxist party called Democrats that just keep, except for Manchin and Sinema, which have been the only two cogs in their machinery, the only two blocks. If they would roll over, then we would see stuff getting passed. I mean, they're trying to fund illegally. They're trying to get Planned Parenthood taxpayer money through this bill. The Hyde Amendment is in there. They can't, but they don't care. See, they don't care. They literally think the average person's too stupid to even be told what they're doing up on Capitol Hill. It's mind-boggling to me. The other issue I wanted to go over with you, besides the fact that they're going to fund, I told you, the 8 borders, but not ours, is the investors in the last quarter of 2021 bought almost $50 billion in homes in 3 months. Okay, this is how this works. BlackRock Financial is over 60 or 80 trillion dollars, and they're part of this great reset. And they are basically the funding mechanism for all the banks now. But if you want to play ball with the global family, you have to have a good ESG score. You have to be going green as a corporation, like Bank of America, Wells Fargo. You have to be investing in green projects as a bank, social justice causes, and working with the government and public-private partnerships. So everything now is, okay, what's the plan? The plan is that there's these three groups that are all affiliated with BlackRock. And this is why the housing market is through the roof. Purchases and rentals and commercial. Here they are, the groups. One is called Green Street. BlackRock Financial is affiliated. Okay, they now own, Invitation Homes. So Green Street Report. Okay, they reported, here are the companies. Invitation Homes Incorporated, now as of January, owns 81,550 homes in Phoenix and the big markets. They buy them and they turn them into expensive rentals. Progress Residential, LLC, owns 75,000 homes. American Homes for Rent, 56,100 homes. Tricon Residential, 27,500. And according to the Business Journal here, they're expecting that number. They're expecting the institutional ownership of single-family rentals to continue to grow. What that means is this. There's millions of people flooding in the country. The farmland's getting bought up by Gates. China and other nations are buying up our corporations and buying up our businesses. So while you have that going on, we have our schools getting flooded with advanced sex ed, critical race theory, intersectionality, white privilege, on and on and on. There's even a private association teaching private schools. They got caught promoting radical social justice causes to private schools. So the plan is this. This is what I'm going to be talking about every day that I do the podcast and when I write my articles. 90% of the news that is out in the networks, on the networks, are noise. Our foundation is being eroded. The only way we stop this is we have to get the Congress back in conservative hands, conservative president, and then we just start deconstructing the federal government. Get rid of the Department of Education. Shrink the EPA down to basically nothing. Cut the federal budget 25%. If it was up to me, we would get a balanced budget amendment. But cut, reduce, everything back to the states, everything back to the states, everything back to the states. Then we tell the world, we're out. We're out of the Paris Accord. We're Iran. We're done with this nuclear deal thing. We're done with your deal. We're not going to give you any more billions of dollars. Hey, world, we're not going to be giving you money anymore. We're going to stop sending hundreds of millions of dollars to El Salvador and Guatemala. We have to quit trying to buy friends around the world, and then everything goes local, and the federal government stops passing these insane laws trying to supersede the Constitution, because the Constitution says that if it doesn't expressly assign rights to the federal government, then things are supposed to default to the states. Our federal government is enormous. We cannot survive if we continue to morph into this big global mob of a big global family. The world wants us to decrease and to be absorbed into the world. And then the whole world will be chaos. Because China, Russia, and India aren't going to play ball. But the stupid Western nations, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, United States, Canada. Oh, sure, we want to play ball. Germany, all these. Germany's talking about going back to mask mandates again. Lockdowns. I mean, not even reopening. Well, we better keep it going. Tyranny, tyranny, tyranny. So most of the news that you see doesn't matter. If we don't gut the federal government and get everything back local and get out of these global agreements and quit letting foreign people buy our land and buy our resources. Why does China own most of our meat processing plants in the United States? Why are they spending billions of dollars in meatless products? Because they're being told by BlackRock Financial and these institutions, America is going to be going toward meatless, so that's probably where you should be shifting your business model. Because we're going to pressure them to not be eating meat in the United States and globally. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to see conservatives and Republicans get so carried away with all of these emotional videos. Like Ukraine was not a good country. Their leadership is corrupt to the core. That's why Biden told hey, if you guys don't get rid of the prosecutor that's after my son, I'm not going to give you the cash. Boom, he got fired. And all of a sudden, pray, we got to help the Ukrainians. Well, how does that work? So what happens then if there's a crisis in Georgia or a crisis somewhere else over in Europe? We got to help them. We got to help them. Oh, China's Taiwan and Hong Kong. We got to help them. How do we help them? I hear people that are good patriot military guys, vets like myself, that are like, yeah, we gotta step in and help them. Do we? Can we? Why is the United States of America trying to police the world? It's illogical. It's not moral. Individually, we should help. But our government abuses and financially mismanages any direction that people want them to do. Our federal government cannot do anything efficiently and well. But they just keep spending trillions of dollars and trillions of dollars and trillions of dollars. Gas is through the roof. Inflation's through the roof. Everybody's trying to look around. And the fact is this. If we blow out 22, we get back to Congress, and then they impeach Harris and Biden. Period. No, it's not nice. That would set a bad precedent. Who cares at this point? Seriously. We got to quit trying to worry about what about the future. We're not going to have a future as a constitutional republic unless we go hardball. It's not violent, not hateful, hardcore. No, we don't need the Department of Education poisoning the kids. We don't need the EPA taking people's land and water. We don't need HUD to be this big. We need everything to go back to the states. Matter of fact, federal government, we're going to give states back all their land. We're going to shrink. And we're going to go to term limits. 12 years, 2 Senate terms or 6 House seats, and you're out. No lifetime retirement. Get rid of asylum. You can't do that. Yes, you can. The Congress passes immigration laws. They say, you know what? We don't have asylum anymore. No visas. We're going to regroup. Then all these people who run to the border, I am afraid for my life. I'm sorry. Because less than 3% actually are. And they can get help in Mexico. So the big story today is that they did pass the $1.5 trillion, which is a nightmare for anyone that loves our country. These investors are buying up our real estate. Gates is buying up our land. And everybody is preoccupied with what's going on in Ukraine, while our government just is going to help 8 countries with their borders, that they're intentionally going to leave our borders open. And that is what has to be addressed. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. But you're going to be hearing me talking about a lot on my articles, trendingpolitics.com, eric-thompsonshow.com. On True Social, look up Eric Thompson. But I'm just going to be saying, look, local, national. And it's like, it's the old airplane analogy. If your mask drops down, what are you supposed to do? You take the mask, you get yourself enough air and get yourself healthy, then you go help somebody else. Right now, we're fading so fast, there's going to come a point where we're not going to be able to help other people because we ourselves are bankrupt and anemic. But hang in there. We still have a chance, but boy, the days are getting short. So thank you for listening. My second sponsor, mypillow.com. Check them out. mypillow.com/FLS, or if you want to keep it simple, mypillow.vip for being very important person. mypillow.vip. You get up to 90% off on its closeout sales, up to 66% on the normal items. mypillow.vip, and you're going to use the promo code FLS, just like you're going to do with Pure Talk USA, to save $1,000 a year for your family on your cell phone bill. Get puretalk.com, promo code FLS, or mypillow.vip, promo code FLS. But tell your friends, hey, we're all in. We can't do it. If we do it, then we will be like Romney and these guys, and we'll never win anything, and our country will be toast. So thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.